In the 70s, American comics were exposed to some of the more distinctive works of European comic book art via the adult-oriented magazine Heavy Metal. For the first time, the art of creators like Moebius and Inke Bilal was available to a wide audience in the US, and soon American artists contributed to Heavy Metal as well. This laid the groundwork for a number of American artists to take up a more European-influenced style. Other European works, notably Hergé's Tintin, contributed to the influence on American comic books, but Heavy Metal is the best known and probably the most widely influential. While European art didn't sway comic books as profoundly as Japanese manga, the influence can certainly be seen in quite a few comic book artists who've migrated from heavy metal into the American mainstream, or who have been influenced by the European masters. Their styles emote either a clear line style reminiscent of Tintin, or the more realistic airbrush look common in heavy metal, and often something in between the two. I think this trend will grow more prominent in time, especially given the establishment of Humanoids publishing in the US in 1999. Humanoids is an extension of the French publisher of Metal Hurlant, which was the inspiration for heavy metal. The goal of Humanoids was to bring classics as well as contemporary works of European comic book art to the United States on a large scale, and to combine the essence of what made European creators great with the dynamics of American creators. In just a few years, they have introduced a very impressive amount of European work to the American market in the form of monthly comics as well as large format albums. In 2002, Humanoids relaunched Metal Hurlant as an anthology comic book for an American audience. The new Metal Hurlant features the best and the brightest talents from both Europe and North America. NBM has also been making comic books by creators from Europe available in the US, as well as comics from all other parts of the world. NBM was actually the first to publish European graphic novels in America, inspiring numerous artists to reach new levels in their craft. Their books are likely to increase in popularity as artists continue to look outside of the stable of American creators for sources of inspiration. It wouldn't surprise me if the passage of a few years saw European influence become every bit as prominent as Japanese influence. It's all about exposure. As more and more manga became widely available in the States, the style's influence could be seen creeping into every facet of American comic books, and so it will be with the wealth of European art becoming more accessible to American readers. Humanoids and NBM are both doing a fantastic job in widening the context of American comics, and numerous smaller publishers are also bringing European comics to the notice of American audiences. Readers are increasingly looking for something in comic books outside of the superhero norm, and Europe and Japan have been producing exactly that for decades. Comic books are given much more credibility as an art form in Europe and Japan, and usually deal with mature topics in the genres of science fiction, horror, fantasy, or erotica, rather than superheroes. Bearing this in mind, their influence has a substantial potential to alter the perception of comic books in America. Also worthy of note, as a subset of European artists, are the contributions made by the artists and writers from the United Kingdom. As I mentioned in my discussion of Vertigo, many creators have entered the American comics industry from the UK, bringing a different, mature sensibility from working on publications like 2000 AD, Deadline, and Viz. The punk movement had a heavy hand in the development of many of these comics, so much of the content was punk or anarchy related. Social and political satire were common, as was off-color humor. The rarity of superheroes and the strong tendency towards bizarre science fiction in UK comics influenced such books as The Invisibles, Transmetropolitan, Global Frequency, Marvel Boy, and the Counter-X revamp of a number of Marvel's mutant-related titles. A new wave of more realistic heroes and anti-heroes who didn't dress in colorful costumes and had a distinct contempt for authority was born by these influences.